So, are you feeling stuck or overwhelmed? I try to remember that the journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. I'm Coach Bobby Brown with Sober Life Right. What I do is I help people live their most amazing lives free from drugs and alcohol. Um, Doing a lot from the book The Success Principles by Jack Canfield, and we're in chapter 8, which is all about creating plans and breaking down these huge goals we've now built for our life into these small actionable tasks. One of the downsides to architecting your own life is that there's going to be a lot of overwhelming stuff you got to do. Like, there's so much sometimes. And I know that for me, that when I'm trying to do too much is usually when I'm at the most risk of giving up or failing. This happened to me back in 2020. I was 17 months into my own recovery. I am a man in long-term recovery. What that means for me is that today I live an amazing life without the use of drugs and alcohol. It's been that way since July 22nd, 2021. So this is before the last time I used drugs or alcohol. And I was living this really, really intense, fast-paced, self-development, like make it all happen sort of life. I had spent 11 months in jail and in treatment. During that time, I read probably close to 100 self-help books of different things. I had implemented a lot of the stuff that I'm going through in these videos are things that I implemented in my life. You know, I was waking up early. I had a to-do list already prepared, which is one of the things that it talks about in this book. And this chapter is the power of doing a to-do list the night before. I was praying in the morning. I was meditating. I was doing affirmation. I'm like listing these off of my fingers here. I was going through and I was drinking half my body weight in ounces of water, which apparently that's the right amount in case you were wondering. I was working out, at one point doing up to like 1,500 push-ups a day. I was reading recovery stuff. I had my goals written down. I had my purpose written down. I'm reading these things 3 times a day, like very regimented, very strict time management. Of course, that was very, very easy because I didn't have access to distractions. I had no cell phone. So I was not doom scrolling. I wasn't watching TikTok videos or YouTube videos about dancing cats. I was not, my circle, my community was very, very small. It was people that I was directly in contact with on a daily basis. I didn't have family I was talking to on the phone. I had damaged all these relationships, so it wasn't a whole lot of letter writing. It was very, very much focused on me and improving. Once I got done with that 11 months, then now I get into sober living. I get very involved in service work. I'm just very involved, and I'm still trying to maintain this life. And I got out of treatment with nothing, so I had to go and I had to hustle and network and find a job. And so now I've got this job that's, I'm working initially 40, but ended up to about 50 hours a week. But then on top of that, I've got, in order to have this good paying job, I've got a 2-hour bus ride there and a 3-hour bus ride back. So now my 8-hour workday is 13 hours. I'm still trying to do all these things. And I'm still a little bbit crazy. 11 months was probably enough that I wasn't, the physical effects of the drugs were out of my body at that point. But so I'm just doing it. I'm doing it all. I'm going to church. I'm reading the Bible, like you name it. If there's something that I could find about improving my life or that was recovery important, like I'm doing it all. And I got to a breaking point, and I found myself where I've got a sponsor that says this. It's just been so powerful. You never want to be in a position where opportunity and desire intersect when it comes to using. And I was at a place where I didn't expect the opportunity to be there. I was at a place where I felt like I was really, really confident there was no chance I was using ever again. But I'd stopped doing some of the daily things that I didn't know what was important, so I'd stopped. Like I had a lot of inconsistency suddenly coming up in my recovery, just from like lack of time. And sure enough, I had something placed in front of me, and within about 90 seconds, it was done. I've talked about this before, and in some other, some of my very early videos, how sometimes a decision in a 90-second time period can absolutely change your life. And it's those times when I do something based off of temporary feeling that gets me in trouble every time, when I'm not real clear on things like vision, real clear on goals and what I'm working towards and my values, and being able to have that compass, then I am at a lot of risk. So how does that relate to planning and this chapter in the book? So Jack talks about how one of the things he goes over is this thing called mind mapping. So basically you start with your big goal. And so I put a goal out yesterday on TikTok that said, one of my goals is to have 1 million views on a video by June 29th. And so in order to do that, I've got to do certain things. And so basically you start with your goal. In the middle, you put your big goal. So you put my big goal, which is to have the 1 million views. And then I break it down into, okay, well, what's involved with getting those views? Okay, well, one, I've got to make content. I've got to have videos that are put out. So there's a little circle with create content. Then I've got to find ways to solicit subscribers. So I've got to market it. So I've got my marketing over here, and that could include all sorts of things, asking my existing friends, hey, subscribe to my stuff, making sure my videos have that in it. So by the way, this is a good time probably to say that if you like these videos, or if you're just like me, or if you want to help, or if you just say, you know what, for whatever reason, just please hit where I think it's down or up, wherever it is. I think it probably matters on where you're watching this, but hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave comments for me. All those things, my limited understanding, help algorithms and help people to see things. So help me out. By being an Amazon affiliate, I hope that helps. And I am an Amazon affiliate. So in the comments, there's a link to the book, The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. I also put a link to another book I'll talk about in a second that's part of this book. So I've got to do those things. And then I break it down. Okay, well, what are the steps I have to do? Some of the things for me was, one, I had to get a YouTube channel. I had to build out a profile. Then I had to actually record videos. Then I had to learn how to do the thumbnails. Then I had to learn how to do good descriptions. I had to learn about hashtags. I have to share those videos now on other outlets. So these are some of the steps in my action plan to hit my goal. Okay. In the beginning, that wasn't a goal of this. My original goal for this was just, okay, put out content, figure out later what's going to happen. And that's kind of where you got to start. Sometimes you just got to take action. And that's something I've learned to do, just be uncomfortable doing things. My first time in front of the camera was, I'm sure, a train wreck, but I feel like maybe I'm doing this a little better now. I hope so. I'm trying. Another thing that Jack talks about in the book is he goes through mind mapping. He also goes through Brian Tracy's book, Eat the Frog First. Amazing book. I've got these books. Like, this is Eat the Frog. I'm gonna put a link to that one. My worn copy of The Success Principles. And I read through chapter 8 again today, which gave me a good brush up. But in Eat the Frog First, it talks about once you've got these this plan. You've mapped out what it is that you want to do, that you go ahead and you start your to-do list, and you start with the hardest task. And the reason you do that is, a lot of times, if you say our tendency is to put off that really hard task for the day. And so a lot of days it may not get done. So trying to tackle that, that's something that I probably need to work on some more. I'm not, a lot of my decision I base on intuition, and I rely on self-discipline, and just if I need to do it, knock it out. But I need to have some better personal planning, I think, with things. So I'm glad, I'm working through this like I'm sharing it. Getting my plan and putting my plan in place with smaller actionable steps. Talk a little bit about coaching. I want to talk about something that I heard or read or heard somewhere along the way. Talked about who is the best person to learn from, what, and it broke it down as somehow or another that if you are trying to learn basic physics for the first time, you might think that the best person to teach you that would be this Nobel Prize winning physicist. They got all this knowledge, they should be able to break it down. The problem is that you speak different languages. Their base of knowledge is so far off from where you are that that's just not helpful. It's why I think a lot of colleges have teachers' assistants and TAs or whatever. I don't know. I've got some college, but not a whole lot of college class experience. I don't know that I've ever met a TA, but I've seen them on TV, and that's what I kind of imagine them as being. This idea that somebody that has recently gone through or is recently going through something may be the best person to teach you. And I'm applying this to my life right now. So if you are looking for someone to help you with all this, and you realize that you don't just have that accountability person, you don't have that person in your life that's going to understand and on the same level and working on the same way, or the people that are, they've got their own stuff going on. One of the best things in the world you can do is pay to have a coach. You pay to have a coach that's dedicated to your goals, to you. Coaching is not about me trying to figure out, give you the plan to live my life. It's about helping you discover what your life should look like, and then helping you clearly map that out and create small actionable steps that are possible, and then help hold you accountable on it. So anyway, that's what I've got on principle number 8. So hope you like these videos. Again, please subscribe, comment. If you want to talk to me about coaching, DM me coach, or leave coach in the comments. Thanks.